My name is Sarah Mitchell. I'm 34 years old, and if you had seen me just a few months ago, you probably wouldn't recognize the woman I've become today. Because not too long ago, I lost everything. After 10 years of marriage, my husband didn't just walk away, he replaced me. Just like that. He married into money, a billionaire's daughter, and in one brutal moment, my entire life collapsed like it never even mattered. No warning, no mercy, just gone. The house? His name. The savings? His accounts. The future I thought we were building together? A lie. And me? I was left standing there with a 6-year-old boy holding my hand, asking me questions I didn't have answers to. Mom, are we going to be okay? Man, that question hit different. Because I didn't know. I had rent breathing down my neck, school fees coming up, groceries running low, and my bank account, let's just say it was hanging on by a thread. I wasn't heartbroken anymore. I was scared. Not for me, for my son. So when I saw that job listing, live-in caregiver, private estate, high salary, I didn't think twice. People online were saying the old man was unstable, dangerous, that caregivers barely lasted a week. But I didn't have the luxury to be picky. I applied that same night. 2 days later, I was standing in front of a mansion so big it didn't even feel real. Tall gates, long driveway, the kind of place you only see in movies. And right there, I should have known something was off. But I walked in anyway, because when life backs you into a corner, you don't ask questions. You survive. A woman opened the door. Perfect posture, perfect smile. But her eyes? Cold. I'm Laura, my father's daughter. Something about her tone felt distant, like she wasn't just introducing herself, she was measuring me. She walked me through the house like I was already just another employee. Then she stopped outside a large wooden door. My father isn't easy, she said calmly. Most people quit. I nodded. I won't. Not because I was strong, because I couldn't afford to be weak. She opened the door, and that's when I met him, an old man in a wheelchair staring out the window like the world had already left him behind. But the moment he saw me, everything changed. "Who is this?" he snapped. I froze. His voice wasn't weak. It was sharp, angry, alive. Before I could even respond, he grabbed a glass and threw it across the room. It shattered against the wall. My heart nearly stopped. But Laura? She didn't even flinch. "This is normal," she said, like she was talking about the weather. Normal? Yeah, right. That first day was rough. He shouted, refused help, threw things, tried to push everyone away. But I didn't leave. I stayed. Because every time I thought about quitting, I saw my son's face, and that was enough. That night, around 9 p.m., I went downstairs to grab some water. The house was quiet, too quiet. Then I heard it. Laughter. A man's voice. Something about it felt familiar. My chest tightened as I stepped into the living room. And then I saw him. Jason. My ex-husband, standing there like he owned the world. For a second, I couldn't breathe. He looked at me, slowly, then smiled. Not the kind of smile you remember, the kind that cuts. "Well, well," he said, "guess life didn't work out for you, huh?" Yeah, that moment, that was worse than the divorce. Because now I understood everything. The mansion, the job, the woman. I wasn't just working anywhere. I was working in his house, in their house, the same people who destroyed my life. And now, I was their employee. He walked around me like I was nothing. "From wife to worker," he said with a laugh. That's crazy. I wanted to leave. God knows I did. But then reality hit. Bills, my son, survival. So I swallowed everything and stayed quiet. And that's when everything changed. Days passed. Then something weird started happening. The old man, Mr. Hensley, began changing. Not worse, better. Small things. Less anger. More awareness. Moments where his eyes looked clear, like he wasn't crazy at all. Then one night, I heard something I was never supposed to hear. Voices. Laura, Jason, behind a half-open door. The medication is working. Working? Jason laughed. How long before he loses everything? Laura's voice dropped. Not long. And just like that, everything clicked. The next morning, Mr. Hensley grabbed my wrist, tight. His voice was low. They're trying to make me crazy. I froze, because now I knew. And in that moment, I had a choice. Walk away or stand up. And this time, I chose to fight. We made a plan. I switched his medication. Quietly, carefully. No one noticed. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and slowly the man everyone thought was broken came back to life. But we had to play it smart. In front of them, he stayed crazy, yelling, throwing things, acting unstable, and every time they saw it, they smiled, thinking they were winning. Man, if they only knew. Then came the big day. Lawyers, doctors, board members. Laura stood there, confident, ready to take everything. Jason looked proud, like he had already won. But then Mr. Hensley moved. Not like before, not weak, not confused. Strong, calm, controlled. He said, "I think that won't be necessary." The room went silent. Laura's face? Gone. Jason? Shook. And then the truth dropped. Recordings, proof, everything. Their plan? Exposed. Right there in front of everyone. Police walked in minutes later, and just like that, the people who tried to destroy everything lost everything. And me? I was just standing there, the same woman they laughed at, but not the same person anymore. Mr. Hensley looked at me and said something I'll never forget. "You didn't just help me, you saved me." And then he made a decision that changed my life forever. He gave me everything, not because I asked, not because I deserved it, but because I stayed when everyone else walked away. And sometimes that's all it takes. Because life has a funny way of flipping the script. One moment you're at your lowest, the next you're exactly where you're meant to be. And the people who thought you were nothing, yeah, they're the ones left speechless. So if you're going through something right now, if life feels unfair, if it feels like you've lost everything, just remember this. Sometimes you're not being buried, you're being planted. And trust me, when you grow, nobody's going to recognize you.